Hello and welcome to episode 75 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, the podcast where we take a random movie from Metacritic's all-time movie list. This is Colin.
This is Niall.
And this is random movie 257 in the list of movies. It's called Frankenstein from 1931, the original seminal movie.
Yes, good use of the word. And it is, like it really is. It's one of the original horror movies. It's so much so that the first 2 or 3 minutes is a guy warning us about how shocking this movie might be for us. And some of us might, of a nervous disposition, might want to not watch it.
Yeah, that was kind of fun to start it off.
It was. I think he was Welsh, but I liked the voice he had.
Hitchcockian.
Very much so. Very much so. It's great.
That
kind of
was
reminded me of the Monster Mash song.
Yeah, true. The voice was very Monster Mashy. That was Edward Van Sloan who plays Dr. Veldman in this movie.
Cheap ass feckers. Had a doubled up,
yeah. It runs for 1 hour and 10 minutes, so it's a pretty light affair time-wise. If you want to look at a classic movie and you in between work and dinner, then hey, chuck it in and you're good to go. It's not really that much of a time sink at all.
Yeah, and it's not intellectually draining or demanding. Let's be honest. It's pretty shallow, which is fine.
That's fine. Yeah, I felt like that a couple of times. There's a couple of times where it's like, oh, that's happened quickly.
Yeah, it's there are scenes where it's just like, oh, we need to stick this bit in, so we'll stick it in.
Yeah. It's got a Metascore of 91 and a user score of 7.9.
Interesting. I'm not sure I would agree with either of those, but
yeah, I think a lot of reviews are retroactive and they're sort of just going, listen, this is a classic movie.
Yeah.
But if you're reviewing it with 4 categories in hand, like we are, it's hard to rate it highly if it's not groundbreaking in 2024, but it was back then.
You compare this to the Shawshank Redemption, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but you have to have a lens of cinematic history as well.
You do. Rose-colored, rose-tinted lens. You know, the importance of it. Here's my issue, though. 7 years later, Citizen Kane comes out. And that actually, I watched it, I don't know, about 6-7 years ago. That holds up reasonably well. Like it cinematic choices in this and the how they choose their shot and the fact that it starts at the end and then works its way back to that point. Fantastic. Very modern in some respects. So 7 years made a massive difference. Now, I suppose a lot of cinema happened in those 7 years. But then we watched that movie, oh, damn it, the not talkie.
Oh, Wings.
Sorry, yeah. And
that was 1918 or 1921 or something.
Cinematically,
27.
It tried an awful lot of things, and it was much more impressive in some ways.
True, but you get that though with directors like Orson Welles, one of a kind.
Yeah, genius,
Wings was just one of these movies that came together with people that had been in the war and basically said, well, chuck a friggin' camera on a plane and you'll get good shots.
But even beyond that, like the swing scene or the table scene in the restaurant, that's beautifully done. There's thought and there's art in that. This feels a bit more of it's a shocker. We're not going to bother too hard now cinematography. We're going to get a big tall fella, we're going to put some white paint on his face and he's going to scare you.
Well, let me put some layer of workmanship and say that Jack P. Pierce, who did the makeup in this, obviously Boris Karloff played the monster. He had to sit for 4 hours to get that makeup on, and only in 2026 does the copyright actually run out on the actual Frankenstein look. Jack P. Pierce created that look for the Frankenstein. If you tell a kid to draw Frankenstein, that's 2 bolts in the neck, flat head, and there you go.
That's the best part of this movie, though. Like it's like when he walks on stage for the first time, it's impressive. It really is. And you consider the time as well. I would imagine a lot of people in the cinema filled their pants. Not in a good way.
But as well, when he comes in, that's a really good cinematography shot. It's well lit, well shot. And there's a couple of scenes like that throughout the movie that are well thought out. I think the cinematography at times in this is actually quite innovative. And yeah, you've read the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
I have, and I'll be honest, I read the book when I was a teenager, but harkening back to the movie we watched or reviewed recently, Seven, where they mentioned Cliff Notes, I decided to be a lazy fecker this time and not reread the book and just go through the summary and the synopsis. And this movie is nothing like it. The Mary Shelley book is very nuanced. It's quite smart in some of the really complicated topics it covers. This has got Scary Man.
Yeah,
and listen, I think that's a useful or important movie, because there are horror movies now that are shallow still, and this kind of is the first of them.
I'm guessing Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, that the movie that came out in the 2000s or the 1990s.
It is actually very close to the book. In fact, it follows it almost page by page. It's
hence the title.
Yeah.
And so, like, obviously, the monster wasn't looking like Jack P. Pierce's monster. It was more.
No, he looks like a man who's been sewn together.
Right.
That's it. Not 20 foot tall. He doesn't have bolts in his neck. He just looks sewn together.
Yeah. So, in general, this movie, what did you make of it?
I think if you put on the I'm watching a movie from the 1930s glasses, in some respects, it's quite impressive.
The first of its kind.
First of its kind.
Dracula came out the same year before it, and Bela Lugosi actually auditioned for Frankenstein, but he didn't. So he didn't want it then. He read the script and said, nope.
No, too scary.
Too crap.
I don't know that I've actually... I'm pretty sure I have seen it. That was the one with... who played? It wasn't Boris Karloff. It was
Bela Lugosi.
Sorry, Bela Lugosi.
That's what I just said. All right, let's not get into forgetting names.
Names ain't good.
It's becoming a trait.
This is the problem when
we're going to change we're going to change the name of
this. Got the brain
review.
From the wrong jar.
Abnormal brain.
That's another thing that's absolutely not in the book.
That was good.
I do remember that from Young Frankenstein. It was a very funny scene of Igor, not Fitz.
Not Fritz.
Fritz or Fitz? Fritz. Okay, that's good. It was very funnily done in Young Frankenstein, and I kind of chuckled watching this movie, thinking of Young Frankenstein, because it's almost comedic how it's done.
Yeah, true. It is.
He's like, it is Fritz. Sorry, yeah, Dwight Fry.
Yeah, I think he was typecast and never played another role.
And it's the last time he's called Fritz, that character. The character doesn't exist in the book, but he is in many Frankenstein-style movies. Igor.
Yeah, when did he become Igor, though? Because that's what I was thinking. Oh, that's Igor. When did that? Who did that for the first time, I wonder?
I'm just going to have a quick little gander at Bride of Frankenstein and wonder, does Igor become Igor in that? Let's have a gander.
Don't know. While you're gandering, I'll fill in who's playing who. So Colin Clive plays Henry Frankenstein, not, what's he called? Victor Frankenstein in the novel?
Victor, yeah. He's a friend called Victor who plays a reasonably big part in the movie.
True.
Which is kind of annoying. Victor
Moritz, played by John Bowles. We have Mae Clark, who plays Elizabeth, and we have Edward Van Sloan, which we've seen already as the pre-announcer dude, and he plays Dr. Veldman. And they're the main things, the main guys in it. We have Baron Frankenstein, which is quite a fun character to have, played by Frederick Kerr. But so we kind of set off the movie with the typical grave robbing scene. We've got Clive and Fritz hanging back in the graveyard while a grieving family buries their loved one, and they wait for the person to be buried, and yoinks, we'll have that.
I love that. Yeah,
love that.
He's got a nice pair of legs and all of that. Yeah.
So what about the first thing I noticed in this scene was obviously the echoiness of a studio sound stage.
Yeah, the sound is pretty. It's sometimes difficult to follow what's being said. Actually,
it's echoey. It's quite it's a small sound stage. This one, it's quite good. Like I like the silhouettes. There's a nice skeleton, tombstone, headstone.
And I like the death
motif.
There's a skeleton holding a sword in the background, kind of almost like that, waiting to take his people away. I like Igor popping up like, "Oh, time to go." And he's like, "No, stop it! There's people still down there, you idiot."
Well, he says that in 3 words. He goes, "Down, you fool!"
down, you fool. It's quite. I don't know if it's. I'm pretty sure it's not intentional. There's a lot of unintentional comedy for me in this.
Well, yeah, I think that's because you have the lens of Young Frankenstein and all the other sort of spoof movies.
Yeah,
Dead and Loving It with Leslie Nielsen.
I think as well, like back in the day, this would have been shocking. It
was shocking.
Zero shock element to our modern sensibilities.
Yeah, well, when he basically says, when he actually alives Frankenstein, he goes, "Now I know what it feels like to be God." That was banned. That was taken out.
Yeah, I did find that. Ooh, 1930s, can't say that.
Yeah, they actually removed it with a bolt of lightning, a thunder crack, and they only really realized it was gods, plural, when they found the original or whatever. Don't know how they found the original, but somehow they did.
You know, this is where I thought, the wife was, or the fiance of Henry, who should be called Victor, Elizabeth, is sitting there watching this. And I'm thinking, love, perhaps that's a red flag. your husband-to-be thinks he's a god.
Yeah.
Maybe run away.
And he just alived a dead person.
Who he stole bits of from graves.
Yeah.
That's not great.
All right, here's the wedding ring. See you later.
Yeah,
I'm out of here. Victor. Yeah, Victor, come with. Let's go. Yeah, you're normal.
Yeah. You're reasonable. And you got the right name. Let's get married.
Yeah. Yeah. I never liked Henry as a name.
Stupid
Frankenstein
name.
I'm good with, but anyway, back to the graveyard. I like this. I liked how they created a dark sort of, there's silhouettes of headstones, there's dogs barking, actually bells tolling for the first minutes, and then it stops while they...
Well, there's a nice symmetry with dogs barking as well, because there's hounds barking in the very last scene. Or sorry, not the very last scene, the last scene that the monster's in.
Yeah, hunting for him. They grab the coffin, then they find a guy hanging from a gallows.
Oh, we'll have some of that. He's got nice hands. We'll have those.
Yeah, yoinks, chop. But they need...
It's like going to the 7-Eleven and picking up some bread and some milk, Yeah,
just pop by. Oh, window shopping, gallows shopping. Oh, he looks good. Anyway, but they figure out they actually need a brain, so cut to a medical college, and Fritz is looking through the window at a little autopsy thing, and there's 2 jars, as we said: normal brain, abnormal brain.
In the Young Frankenstein version, he looks at both jars. He doesn't drop one, but Igor can't read, so he goes, abnormal. That must mean supernormal. And he grabs that one. This one he drops the normal jar and goes, abnormal will be fine.
Yeah, he's we see that Fritz is he's obviously not...
He's a bit abnormal.
Yeah, he's abnormal. He's got a smooth brain. So he bumps into the skeleton that's there. He's feared, frightened.
He's definitely a frightened.
He is a frightened, and he drops the jar and grabs the other one because that's what makes sense to him. Next scene, we get the introduction of Elizabeth, who is Victor's fiancée, and he's just gone missing, and she knows he's away doing experiments, and she's reading the letter from him, thinking he's unhinged, and reading it to Victor, who wants a little bit of Lizzie action.
He does, and she would have been better off, let's be honest.
Yeah, normal, yeah. Normal, not abnormal.
Not abnormal.
I can see a trend here.
That's a lot of abnormal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this brain thing is one of the gripes I have with the movie, and the fact that they didn't try to be a little bit more brave. I suppose Shelley's book was kind of super risque for 1930s, but even though it was written 3 or 100 years before,
yeah.
But
Yeah.
the subject matter there being, what was it? The fact that the monster doesn't turn evil on its own. It's actually human influence that causes it to turn evil. Where
Right.
It's a brain that is abnormal. It's very simple.
I actually thought before coming into this, because I don't think I've actually watched this before in its entirety. But I have watched
seen clips. I've seen Boris Karloff's head a bunch of times, but never.
But
seen the full movie.
I have watched King Kong before, and you feel a lot of empathy towards King Kong in the movie. I didn't feel empathy towards Frankenstein in this, but I think if you talk to film auteurs and experts, they think that this movie is it's a criticism of humanity and making something like this, making a creature like the Frankenstein or the monster, and we should feel empathy towards it because it kills because it was made to kill or because of its circumstance. And this movie doesn't go that far into it because it's only an hour and 10 minutes.
Not even close. It's just basically, there's about 5 minutes where I suppose Fritz, where he's poking a fiery stick in his face. That's about it.
Yeah.
But that's 30 seconds.
That's it, really. I agree. That's the only time, and I thought it would build from there, but it really goes very fast then.
No, Murder's Rampage.
Yeah. Anyway, they decide to go to his teacher and figure out what the hell has he been doing. I love the term chemical galvanism because that's what electricity was called back when it was starting being experimented on. I like galvanism. I kind of dig that because that's exactly, it's just telling you what's going on. Galvanism.
It means absolutely effing nothing, but it sounds great.
It sounds great. But Elizabeth, when he's talking to Victor, there's an air of secrecy about Henry. He's doing experiments, and she thinks his sanity is going.
Yeah, well, at this scene as well, it's very unusual in that Victor goes, "Well, I fancy you. Maybe just hang around with me, hey."
Yeah, I'm sane.
It's great.
Yeah, but he's
I enjoyed that bit.
He's like going, "Listen, don't worry about it. I'll go." And she's like a few seconds later, and I'll go with you.
Yeah.
So off they go to the teacher, and he tells them what they were doing, what he was doing. Like, dangerous. He's changed. He wants to create life.
Yeah, and then he's like, that's, he's really changed. He's kind of worrying. Let's go meet him.
Well, they ask him, and he goes, "Oh, I don't know about that." And they go, "Oh, please." And he goes, "All right."
Fair enough.
Also, there's another word that he used in this that I kind of really like, because he said that he left the university because he wanted to do his work unhampered, and I like that word.
It is a good word.
Yeah, so galvanism and unhampered. 2 nice words, and I'll start to use them more now. Unhampered.
So when you're taking clothes out of the laundry hamper, you're unhampering the clothes.
True. Yeah.
Definitely using that for that.
Yeah, true. All right, so we're back in the watchtower where they're doing the experiments, and Fritz is
coming down a rope.
Yeah, coming down a rope, kind of like Quasimodo in a way.
Yeah.
But then again, you see the dynamic between Henry and Fritz. Fool.
Yeah, there's nowhere in this movie where Henry's kind of the hero of the story in this movie, but I effing hate him in every scene he's in.
Yeah,
he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's a good actor. I like that kind of. Everybody acts pretty well in this. I really like Mae Clarke playing Elizabeth. I thought she did it very subtly and sort of without sort of going overly dramatic. I thought she was quite subtle in her delivery. I thought she was quite nice. I think the Baron is pretty cool. Yeah, pretty funny.
I think Karloff does a great job.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments where it's like, you could have done something different there, but hey, it's Boris Karloff.
Big, scary looking dude.
Yeah. So yeah, he's in there. So we get the first look at the set, the scenery of the lab, and it's obviously
a pretty
seminal,
scene, especially from the time.
It's seminal.
It really is. And then the arcs, the static electricity arcs in the background.
It's what
Amazing.
I don't know if any movies before this had them, but this obviously
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Is the sort of base work for mad scientist labs, basically. Yeah, you've got the balls of electricity, you've got little poles that have wires coming out of them, and yeah,
look very science to me.
I think every director of Star Trek basically said, just look at Frankenstein movie and just make the set look like that when we go down to a planet.
Yeah.
In the first original Star Trek.
Cheap and cheerful.
Yeah, just put a pole and put a ball on top of it.
Make sure none of the actors touch those poles because they'll get electrocuted.
Yeah, they're real. And yeah. So this is sort of a chaotic scene because obviously we have the tower and it's a good, obviously well-made set, but then we've got this constant thunder and lightning sounds going on, and then to throw more chaos into it, they come knocking on the door, and you've got door knocking and you've got thunderclaps, and it's chaos orally.
It is, and it's the chaos is actually added to by the poor quality audio, and it almost adds to it. You know, it increases the chaos.
Yeah. So they go down. Fritz won't let them in because he's a humble manservant and faithful to his master.
Not to be disturbed. God damn it.
Yeah, but then Henry comes to the window and they go, "Oh, it's Elizabeth. Let me in." She just comes down.
It's the missus. Crap! I'm rumbled.
Yeah. Oh no, she's here. But
we'll hear the end of this one.
I love the way that he still wouldn't let them in, but then they say, "Oh, just let us into shelter from the rain for a bit." All right. Come on in.
No, that doesn't change nothing.
No.
It's a bit wet. Oh, well, come on and see this crazy experiment will make you think I'm really nuts. Okay.
I love the fact that Victor saying, "You're crazy," just triggers him going, "Crazy, am I? Come on up.
I'll show you crazy."
Homer, I think that reminds me of Homer. "Crazy, don't mind if I do."
Yeah.
I think that's crazy, the quote. Yeah. I'm probably wrong. So he brings them up and sit down over there.
Sit down and shut up. Effectively.
Yeah. And so he's found this. He's trying to describe to Dr. Waldman. He's found this great ray that brought life. I created it.
He sellotaped a bunch of lads together and he's going to stick some lightning up its arse, and that's science.
Yeah. That's the ray. Like he's saying like the spectrum of rays that you taught me wasn't accurate.
Uh-huh. That's some good science words there.
Yeah, I love the sentence he says then just before he cranks up Frankenstein up, or the monster up to the roof. He says, "One man crazy, 3 very sane spectators." That's kind of cool sentence.
It is a cool sentence, but he kind of bounces between sane and crazy quite quickly, Mr. Henry.
But
Mr. Frankenstein.
Here's my theory about creative people. Like, creative people are creative and innovators are creative because they shift a paradigm, and a paradigm is normal life. If you start twisting normal life and to create different elements, like think of all the crazy artists, not crazy, but all the innovative artists, they're switching, they're working on the boundaries of normality and creating these wondrous creative things.
My issue is looking at it, like, because this was written 1830 and electricity was
around.
Just about.
Ish.
Yeah, it was kind of like magic. Whereas now, whacking somebody with a lightning bolt isn't going to bring them to life. It's going to incinerate them.
Well, yeah, we use electricity to kill people.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Granted, you can use it to bring people back to life if you direct it into their heart, get the heart going pumpity.
True. I was near that myself back in the day. But
nice.
I was That's
a different podcast.
Yeah.
Did the doctor say, "He's alive"?
And I just walked around going, "Oh,
brain."
They kicked me out of the hospital and I was fine.
Yeah.
But I read that in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, they don't actually describe how they bring the monster to life. You just mention some sort of chemicals.
They don't. He's got two professors. One is his chemistry professor, and one is his philosophy professor. And both of those are important when he's making the decision to do it in the first place. Not a lightning bolt up the arse. It actually makes a lot more sense, to be honest.
Right into the core of your being.
The bum is where your soul is. That's what I get to this.
Yeah, that's what they thought back in the 1830s. So I was going to ask you a question there, but it just flew out of my brain there. Brains. I noticed his big feet being raised up when he was being raised up.
Big ass shoes, yeah.
Yeah, I heard they were really heavy that he had to wear.
Well, it actually added, in my opinion, the fact that they were so heavy to the way he walks, because he clumps. And he can't help but clump in those shoes.
Which reminded me of, I don't know, you don't watch Seinfeld, but Kramer had to wear a tight pair of jeans once. And he had to babysit a boy down the hallway, and the boy saw his shadow, just like you see the shadow in Frankenstein. And Frankenstein. Yeah.
It's alive.
It's alive. So, we're getting to that. Speaking of it's alive. So here's one bit where it just really happened very quickly. The monster comes down, and you think, okay, how are they going to build this? Oh no, the hand starts moving.
Yeah.
It's immediately.
There's no drama. It's like, oh, he's alive. Look at that.
Yeah. So then it's very famous. It's very seminal.
It really is, and it's a phrase that's been used in pop culture for the last 100 years.
Yeah. It's alive.
Yeah, it's great. I'm a bloody god, MF. Yeah.
Yeah, he says his god thing. Yeah, it's cool. It's a good scene.
It is.
Next scene, we get to see Baron Frankenstein, which is Henry's daddy. He's a bit of a curmudgeon, funny guy.
Just doesn't think much of the Burgermaster.
No, doesn't think much of the Burgermeister. And Elizabeth's with him, and she's going, "What's going on?" And she's going,
"Where's Henry? God damn it!
Yeah.
You're supposed to get married. Shit's arranged. Burgermaster's coming in the door. He's going to wreck my head."
Yeah, the Burgermeister's arranged the entire town to party for the wedding, and he's like going, "I've spent a lot of money on this. It better happen." And the Baron's going, "He's got another woman, hasn't he?" And Elizabeth's going, "No, not really. Just
he's got another man, actually."
Well, not even that. He's got a thing. Come on up to the tower and have a look yourself.
Yeah, good move bringing up Daddy up to that.
Yeah, up the hill. He was out of breath by the time he got up there. So back in the tower, we have Dr. Waldman, and like he's totally against the monster. He's like going, "Listen, it's a dangerous creature. Let's kill the shit out of it."
Well, this is kind of funny because they're chatting about it, and Henry is like, "He's fine. Don't worry about it. He's fine." But the doctor then tells him the day after, "Oh, by the way, the brain you put in him, that was from a criminal. He's a murderer, right? You know that?"
He kind of just stares for a little bit, Henry, and goes, "It's fine.
It'll be grand. Sure. He's just a murderer. Who cares?"
I don't think it was stipulated that he was a murderer. It was a criminal.
It was implied. He was a
bad
dangerous
boy.
criminal. I think he was killed or put down, if you will, for his crimes. So it probably wasn't shoplifting.
No, well, you never know back then.
Back in the day, yeah. He stole a loaf of bread off his head.
So he's
pickle his brains.
Yeah, so Waldman's really just trying to get through to Henry that, like, success has intoxicated you. You've created a monster. We've got to nip this in the bud before shit goes bad, man.
Yeah, but then the doctor says, he's only a few hours old. Shut up.
He'll learn. I just put him into the dark. He's going to be there for a while.
It's a great line. It's okay. He's being in the dark and solitary for 24 hours. That'll fix him.
That's a good way to rear a monster. It's fine.
It is. Keeps him in the pitch dark. They learn a lot from that.
But here we have him. We have the entrance of the monster himself. And as we've mentioned earlier on, it's a really nice shot. He does let himself. He clumps down the staircase.
He's having a nap.
I'm awake now. Yeah. So he comes in and he's all in darkness in the apse of the door, and comes into light, and we see a sort of a zoom, kind of a strange zoom sort of cut in. And yeah.
A lot of time and effort has been put into his initial appearance through the doorway.
Yeah.
And it's effective.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a good entrance into cinema history. And Henry's like, oh, come here, sit down. And he plonks into the chair.
Like, yes, look, he can sit down.
Yeah, look, I taught him that in one day. But another great scene is when he opens the skylight and the monster reaches for the light.
Oh, I'll have that.
Have some of that. I like that. That means freedom and killing people.
No, turn the light off. You can't see nothing anymore. Back into the darkness for you.
Yeah. So he goes nuts a bit because Fritz comes in, the idiot, with a torch.
Waving it around the place. yeah. The monster don't like fire.
No. So they strap him in and drag him down to the cellar, and Fritz is stupid.
Everybody leaves, and then Fritz is left alone. And he's like, fire. Poke it in his face.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a mistake, let's be honest.
Which, as you said already, I thought that was the start of humanity.
His torment,
tormenting him. But that was pretty much it.
No more torment, just Murder's Rampage time.
Yeah, because then basically, all right, oh no, Fritz is dead. Henry says.
He screams. The two lads are upstairs, and there's a bunch of screaming, and they're just looking at each other going,
It's at the plumbing again.
Wait a second, that's probably not a good noise. And they're still looking at each other. And I'm like, why aren't you moving?
Oh, Fritz.
It's only Fritz.
Yeah, but Henry does mention him a couple of times. Oh, I should have. He doesn't say poor Fritz, but he sort of laments him. But it's like, nah. He called him fool.
He seems more upset that he doesn't have his hired help anymore.
True. So they head back down, and he and Dr. Wellman's going, listen, you distract him, I'll give him a little needle to I'll snake up to his arse and stick a hypo into his back.
You wave the fire around and he'll go, and I'll inject him on the bum. And that's what they do.
They do.
Victor gets a slap in the face.
Slap in the jaw, yeah.
Yeah, and a bit of a choking.
Baron arrives.
Yeah.
I only realized then that he whistles a lot when he talks. Just like the old guy in Family Guy. The old offender.
Yes, the guy who shouldn't be around children.
I wish I could do it.
No, I can't either.
But he does whistle a lot, and I don't know if it's intentional or not.
I would imagine it is.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So Henry collapses. He's the pressure of. Being by the way, Frankie, the monster says ran out the door when. Oh no, he's not. He's down. No, where is he?
No, they have him locked up.
No, he's locked up at this point. Yeah,
having a snooze because he got injected in the bum.
That's right. Yeah. And so Henry collapses, and Baron says, "Oh, give me a brandy. That'll solve everything."
It fixes everything. Some booze into this lad's stat.
And so let's get him out of here. And that's like, that's a pretty good idea to get him out of there. So this is when Wildman's trying to do is say, listen, I'm going to dissect this guy, this monster, because
he says, don't worry about it. As Henry is being wheeled out or carried away, he says, don't worry about him. I will painlessly destroy him. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Henry's like, that's my science experiment.
But I'm drunk now, so I can't do anything.
Right.
But so he writes a little note when he's about to take do the dissection of him. It doesn't really stay on that long.
Dissection
and it's
while
cursive.
The subject is still alive, which is an interesting approach.
That's a vivisection, right?
Yeah, it is. It's possibly not the most humane of things to be doing.
No. But we have a little one eye open from the monster.
And what I like about the vivisection is the previous scene. He says, "I will painlessly destroy him."
I lied. I actually when I was thinking of Boris Karloff, I was thinking, Arnie should have done Frankenstein at some point with all the grunting and.
He would have been amazing.
He would have been great. I think he still should do it.
Yeah,
and make it a bit more emotional, like the mixture of Kindergarten Cop and Frankenstein.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a bolt in my neck. It is a tumor.
It is a tumor. Oh, brilliant. Sorry.
Kindergarten Frankenstein.
We definitely have to call Arnie tomorrow. We have to make that movie. That's
amazing. So actually, you know what I hated with this? So he was grabbing his knives from the tray, and he fucks up the little sheet on the tray, and it just covers all the other knives. And like, what are you doing? Just grab them nice and easily and pick them one by one. But he just messes all the tray up.
This lad is not a surgeon.
No, he was just like I'm just going to pick this sharp-looking thing.
Hacksaw.
Yeah, that'll do. Anyway, the monster strangles him because he's awake.
Yeah, well, the guy was sticking a sharp thingy in his leg or arm, or I can't remember where, but he deserved a good strangling for it. You know, somebody's trying to vivisect me.
Yeah.
He's getting strangled.
Yeah. Yes. I love the way when the monster is going out of the castle, he kind of turns to go to the cellar and goes, "Oh shit, no, not the cellar," and goes out the other door.
It actually reminded me of Travolta's meme, where he's looking at the house. Yeah. Oh, that way. Hey. Sorry.
No, that's a good one actually. But I have to try and do that one.
There's a massive segue from misery and horrible death to happy wedding time.
It's confusing though, because I thought, oh, this must be like a week later, but they say something later and it's like the next day. Because Dr. Waldman's late for the wedding. He's up at the tower still cutting the monster up into little pieces.
Yeah.
But not really, he's dead.
They didn't wait around.
No.
Sorry, we've just watched some people die, or one person die. Let's get married.
Yay. Yeah, and Henry's chilling out. He's like in the garden. He's got a couple of dogs on his thing. And Elizabeth.
It's a weird jump of a scene, really is.
Yeah, it's the wedding day, and Baron is toasting to the House of Frankenstein and Young Frankenstein, 2 movies that would be created later in...
I'd love the shout out to the movie that would be made later.
I thought there was 2 good camera work here. When he goes out to the balcony, it's shot over his shoulder towards the yokels of the town. He says, "Yeah, more beer." Yeah,
an excellent panning scene internally as well between 2 different rooms, I thought.
Because then that goes on to outside through the party, and it pans through the party for quite a long time, actually.
So from a 1930s perspective, that's an excellent piece of camera work.
Yeah, you have to think back then. Like, storytelling was quite, here's scene 1, because it came straight from the theater, like plays. Okay, how do we do that in movies? Well, you just do the same thing. And it took a couple of innovative people to go, well, no, let's move the camera over his shoulder and let's walk through scenes. We don't have to shoot it like a one stage play. I was reading up the history of cinema, and there's just things that people had to do to go from a book to a silent movie, and then just the innovation of a silent movie. And
a lot of these...
like perspectives as well, perspectives in storytelling. Wasn't
a lot of this
really
stuff we take for granted now.
Yeah.
You almost do if you're directing or shooting a movie subconsciously because of all the stuff we've seen. But back then, no, these are new concepts.
Yeah, you don't even think about it. Like, a story was a narrator telling a story. Once upon a time, blah 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 blah. But then, then people were going, "Oh, let me just tell the story from John's point of view." Anyway. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to remember that there has been a timeline and a progression of creativity.
An evolution.
Correct. That's the word that is better. Well, tell me the story of young Maria.
Not great. So, Mr. Munster he's dandering along.
Herman Munster.
Herman pops along through a forest, having a good old time. And he sees a little girl whose daddy just fecked off to go get a pie or something. I'm not sure. She's there playing with flowers. Herman sits down beside her, and she goes, "Oh, would you like to see some flowers?"
What is she, 70 years old?
He's like, "Oh, lovely flowers," and they're playing with flowers, and she starts throwing them in the lake, and they're floating, and he goes, "Oh, that's lovely." So he picks up the girl and hoofs her into the lake, which I forgot was in the movie. Like, it's a famous scene.
I had no clue what was coming.
Funny.
But here's the deal: like, I thought it was like a shot put.
And he's looking on going, "Oh, she's not floating." And he just danders off. Which is, you know what, that's kind of fair enough, because zero understanding of the world. He was in a good mood.
Yeah,
he didn't try to kill her.
Well, he had no concept of hurt.
Yeah, exactly. He shot putted her without knowing that shot putting people into the lake is a bad thing. Which is kind of sad and funny. But if the mission for this movie is to make me feel empathy towards the monster, that's not going to happen. No, it's too
with that
comedic.
scene. It is a bit comedic. Also, the girl had a kitten, and the kitten just disappeared. Like,
Yeah,
give me some of that as well. Give me a little kitten monster interaction.
So this scene is, in my opinion, is a replacement of a particularly protracted few chapters in the book where the monster is watching people live their lives, and he's kind of jealous of it. But he sits down with an old man, and the old man's blind, and they actually he's learned kind of some language, and they have a conversation, and he has a good time with him. Now it all goes absolutely horribly wrong in a few minutes, but it seems that this scene's only like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, there's no real.
There's a lot that needed to be covered in this scene, and 2 minutes isn't enough.
No, and I thought it might be like a King Kong and the girl relationship where he's caring towards her and doesn't kill her, but takes her up to the Empire State Building.
Which is the scene with the old man in the book. He builds a relationship. Then he meets the rest of the family who aren't blind, and things go bad.
Oh, that's very clever though. That's that element where he can't see.
It is, and it
monstrosity.
It shows that we're biased against visuals of the person that you're talking about.
But in this scene, you have the innocence of a girl who doesn't see the
exactly,
monstrosity.
And that's actually quite nice, but it's not enough, And having her shot put into the lake as well takes away from any sort of.
She didn't really know how to swim a lot, the little girl, and
Jesus Christ.
James Whale made her do it so many times, and he was like going, just one more time, and they did it one more time. All right, I'll give you anything you want if you do it one more time, and they did it one more time, and that's the take they used. And the little girl was like, I want 12 hard-boiled eggs, and he gave her 24 hard-boiled eggs because that was her favorite snack.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll potentially drown you for a few eggs.
Yeah. And actually, Boris Karloff was a kind of a sweetheart because, not a sweetheart, but he was like Maria. People were worried that the little actress would be scared of Boris, but the little girl went up to Boris and went, "Can I drive with you to the place we're shooting?" And he was like, "Oh yes, my darling." That's kind of nice.
Into the lake.
Then I'm going to throw you into the lake later. Don't hold it against me. All right, we're back to the wedding preparations, and Elizabeth's got some spidey senses going on. She's very afraid. I can feel it. And Henry's going, I'll always be with you. Don't worry about
it. The whole spidey sense thing, though, would have been an affront to Mary Shelley, to be honest.
Yeah.
It all felt very emotional, and I'm very distraught. Whereas Mary Shelley wasn't that type of.
Right. But I wonder, like, if it would have made more sense. Like, this came out of nowhere. It's like, okay, she's got doubts on her wedding day. That's fine. But how about, okay, let's make this movie another 40 minutes, let's say. We like our sub 2 hour movies. Let's make the scene and let's make the tower scenes a lot longer where Elizabeth actually has time to bond with the monster, and they do some sort of a la the little girl, whatever. They communicate via something. I don't know what. And then
physical communication. Here, have some cake or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever. Nice like that.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, and then she knows that the monster would come for her because they had formed the bond, and then so she would just like, I know he's going to come, and I don't know if he knows how to manage his emotions towards me or whatever.
You're leaning into your King Kong story here.
I am,
which isn't a bad thing at all.
No, because when I first saw King Kong, I cried as a kid because I didn't like.
He's not the monster.
No.
That's what Jack Black says at the end of the remake.
The remake doesn't exist. Although I did watch it.
It wasn't the worst. I thought it was going to be horrible. But
anyway,
it's not the original.
He's in the house. This is where Scream got, all the horror movies got this line from. So they hear this groaning and moaning and goes, he's up in the attic. Nope, he's in the cellar. Nope.
There's a Scooby-Doo moment where everybody's running between rooms. Which, again, shouldn't be funny, but I found it hilarious.
They're a bit dumb.
Ridiculous and all. Yeah,
they're a bit dumb. Anyway, then we go back, and he locks her in her bedroom to be safe, move. And keeps all the windows open.
Why did he lock her in the bedroom, though? Because Oh,
because he heard he was in the house. Yeah,
the monster. He didn't hear he was in the house. The monster got out. Oh no, he'd heard about the kid had been killed.
Yeah, and they heard some moaning then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so he
like,
locks her in the room.
Locks her in the room to keep her safe.
An interesting move.
Yeah, but yeah. So he comes through the window. Frankie,
Hello.
the monster, and she screams and swoons, and we don't see any more of what happens. And then they hear everything come rushing in, and she's like spread eagled on the bed. What's he done to her? I don't know.
I don't think he had enough time to do anything nefarious. He just legs it.
Yeah, he might have, I don't know, thrown her in the bed or something. I don't know.
Shot put her.
He tried to shot her put her, but the bed got in the way. Yeah. Anyway, Maria's dad parades her through the town and says, "Hey, I want some vengeance. My daughter's been murdered." So the angry mob is riled up, and let's roll with our torches.
Yeah, and the mob are working with Henry Frankenstein to hunt down the monster, which is very different from any other incarnation of this story, because in every other incarnation, the mob are after Mr. Frankenstein with reason.
Exactly, true. I was thinking, he created the monster,
not
right?
in the book.
What happened in the book?
Well,
there is no angry mob in the book.
There is no angry mob, no, not really.
Yeah. But yeah, like
Frankenstein hunts the monster down by himself.
Okay. With a bazooka.
In the Arctic, would you believe?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Talk about a scene stage.
Yeah, so that's probably why they didn't do it. You want to do a snow scene? No, that sounds expensive.
No. It's 1931. We don't have that sort of money.
We don't have snow money.
Yeah. Anyway, there's lots of dogs barking. As we said earlier, they've got a lot of bloodhounds out, and they start running in circles and up a mountain, and Henry faces off with the monster and gets a little punch happy and somehow doesn't die.
Well, what I like just before the mob scene, I wrote this down because it made me chuckle. Just before Victor and the lads go off hunting, Henry turns to Victor and goes, "I'm going to leave her in your care, okay?" Yes. I was just thinking, Victor's thinking, yes, hope he dies.
Yeah, see you later.
Yes.
Go on, monster.
Go on, monster, eat him.
Eat him. I'm just going to head back into the bedroom and take care of your fiancée.
Yes.
You told me to, sorry.
Sorry, just following orders.
Yep. The monster carries Henry to a windmill. A fortuitous windmill, I put in my notes.
Well, you need one.
You gotta need a windmill.
It has to be at the top of a hill as well. It has to be all made of wood. And weirdly, actually, one complaint. Where's the pitchforks? There's zero pitchforks in this mob. What type of mob has no pitchforks?
Maybe that came in Bride of Frankenstein.
Maybe. That's the upgrade.
We had torches in the first one. Let's do pitchforks.
Oh, by the way, I did look it up earlier. Igor is not in Bride of Frankenstein, as far as I can tell.
Okay, he must just come into
don't ask me where he came out of.
Probably Young Frankenstein.
Oh, he's Igor in Young Frankenstein.
Anyway, listen, to wrap it all up, they're in the windmill and a bit of fisticuffs. He chucks him off the windmill, just like in Stick, the ragdoll body.
Again, chuckling to that one.
Yeah, and then he hits the windmill blade.
Only mildly hurts Victor.
Yeah. Hey, he kind of doubles over like the guy from Titanic hitting the propeller.
Yeah. If that was me, I'm dead.
My back is broken.
The spine is in two pieces.
Yeah. Kind of reminded me of The Eagle Has Landed mill scene as well.
The guy gets stuck in the
water mill. Anyway, they use their torches to good effect, set the windmill on fire, and we assume
it's kind of a bit sad, but not really.
Not really. I just don't feel it because I didn't get that emotional.
There's no emotional attachment
journey
with the monster. That is the biggest issue with this movie. I think for this story, you need to have a connection to monster. Just having him as a monster is not enough. But then it is 1930 biggity.
19th hot dog biggity. Yeah.
I understand the lack of nuance around it because perhaps the monster movie is enough, and it kind of is.
Yeah, it does what it does. But if you want I just felt like it was a retribution type movie where it wasn't like the monster is this, as you say, nuanced character where you don't really know why he's doing what he's doing.
There's no motivation built for him.
Yeah, there's glimmers of humanity in him, and
you have to feel sorry for him because in the book, oh my god, it's horrific. Like it's heartbreaking what happens to the monster in that. And Victor Frankenstein in it is not a monster either. He's also kind of tragic. So that's a very it's a tragedy, effectively. What the book is, it's not really a horror story. This is a horror story.
Yeah, and a pretty plain one. Like Henry in this movie, I don't see a arc for him. Like at the start of the movie, it's sort of like, yeah, he's insane and he's working too much.
It's a digital arc, if you get me. It's either on or off with Henry Frankenstein. Either he's the mad scientist or he's the loving husband, a hero fighting the monster.
Yeah, because it quickly switches when he collapses and gets a brandy. He switches from insanity to, I'm done with that now. That was nice. All right.
So there is no arc to him. It's a binary thing, which is kind of annoying. But again, nuance from the time wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, true. I think the last scene is actually they added it on to the movie, I believe, because the original script had Henry dying.
That's what should happen.
Yeah, the actor Colin Clive was in Europe at the time. They had to reshoot, so the guy in the bed isn't actually Colin Clive.
I missed that. Okay, you're some lad.
Yeah. So anyway,
bring some champagne.
Yeah, the waitress, the servants of the house are just giggling and stuff. It's like, what the hell are you giggling about?
Yeah, at this point we still think Henry's dead, but no,
he's in his bed, and Elizabeth's there taking care of him in the background. And Baron just says,
poor Victor at this point thought he was in. Yes, Henry's dead.
Victor's not even thought about it now.
Yep.
The last line of the movie is Baron going, here's to a son of the House of Frankenstein. The end.
Yeah. Poor the monster.
I'm giving the plot 2.5 out of 5. It's simplified, it's average, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's obviously a basis of horror monster movies, and I want to give it that credit, but also I want to note that it didn't knock the shoes off of me.
That's what I want to give as well. For its time, yes, it was original. Not as original as it could have been because of the year previous when Dracula came out. So it loses some points there because it's not really that original, but it's still an impressive piece of work in terms of plot its plot is 2.5. Had they been more nuanced, had they given arc to Victor Frankenstein and the monster
Henry Pitt
had they done that, you could be looking at a 4 or 5 or up to 5 close for its time.
I know we're not. I know we don't like movies over 2 hours or whatever, but
sometimes an hour.
Sometimes they're fine. Yeah. Give me another half an hour and make the character relationships with the monster a bit more evolved. And
don't bother with the wedding scene. Chop it out altogether. It was irrelevant. That's quite a large part of the movie.
Yeah, it's. I think it grounded that whole. That's why people are together or something, but it really didn't matter that the people were together. I guess the people together formed the angry mob, and you didn't have to
that's what
evolve
they're
that.
For.
Yeah. Acting, I give 3.25. I think I liked the performances from everybody, to be honest with you. I thought Colin Clive did a good job. May Clark as Elizabeth did a very nice job. Boris Karloff obviously is made to be a monster. I know the Baron was cool as well, and the Doctor. I want to put it down on paper that I appreciated the level of acting.
I put down 3. I think I might have knocked some points off because of Fritz / Igor. He might have hammed it up a bit too much for me.
Fool.
Yeah.
I thought Fritz was fine. He didn't really play that much of a part.
Pokey. Have some fire in your face. Oh no, you're killing me.
Yeah, it was the only. Yeah, he gave us the only moment of torture of the monster.
Yeah,
apart from the actual creation of it, which is torture in itself.
Yeah, he never asked
Maybe
to
that's
be
the
made.
secret. Maybe that's the secret of the movie.
That's in the book, though. The monster near the end, where he confronts Victor, gives out shit. I didn't ask to be effing made, you effer. Paraphrasing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. You don't really we're not really discussing that because it really doesn't dip into that at all. Like, we have to develop these. We have to go deep into that if we feel like going deep into it, because it doesn't actually allude to it, like the reality of sentience or existence and death and life and
really complex
like
subjects,
that.
which the book covers, and this has a big scary man.
So the movie doesn't have a soundtrack. It's, what do you call it? Diegetic, I think it's pronounced. Digestive Biscuit soundtrack. So there's a lot of sound in this movie, and I appreciate it for what it is. So I'm giving it 3 because I think it uses loud noises to really give a aura of chaos and fear and drama and tension.
I give it 2.75, and because I think maybe a little bit of a soundtrack might have been useful here, just to ramp up the tension. Because, especially in a horror movie, you need it. You need something to build up tension in it. And I think some of the scenes were a little bit flat because of the lack of a heart-beating type soundtrack. That's fine. That just ramps it up a little bit. So it detracts a little bit from it, in my opinion.
Yeah. But if you watch
that's with modern sensibilities, I guess.
With sense and sensibility. And zombies. And
Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
Oh, yeah. What was I going to say? Can't remember. But I was thinking, like, a lot of generic horror movies from that time will have that sort of blaring horns and violins and stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, ramp up the drama.
Production, I gave 3.75. I liked a lot.
Very good.
The photography, I liked the staging, and just the overall mood and vibe that they created by using the colors well and shadows and lighting. Well done.
Yeah, I thought the set design for the tower was very good. Yeah, and that last scene with the windmill, fantastic. Especially when it's set ablaze. So for that, I give it 3.5. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Mordaunt Hall, which is a great name for a horror reviewer. Mordaunt. In the New York.
Don't F with Mordaunt.
No, the New York Times, but her sentence doesn't make any sense to me. She gave it 70. If it's a she, sorry, they gave the movie 70 out of 100. It is naturally a morbid, gruesome affair, but it is something to keep the spectator awake. For during its most spine-chilling periods, it exacts attention.
Was that a contemporary review?
I don't know. Contemporary. I don't know if it maybe sounds older. Anyway, Chicago reader Don Drucker gave it 100. One of the most deservedly famous and chilling horror films of all time. That's retroactive.
Yeah.
Kim Newman Empire gave it 100 and said it's a heartbreaking story. I just disagree with you there, Kim, because it doesn't get to that.
There's no emotion in this.
Yeah. But
the only heartbreaking bit is the father with the kid.
Yes.
That's kind of sad. That tugs at the heartstrings a little bit. Everything else is kind of emotionally flat.
Yeah. I would if they'd spent a little bit more time forming a relationship with the little girl at that point, and the girl dies accidentally, just, I don't know, climbing a tree or something, showing.
No shot putting.
And then they blame the monster, but the monster is a caring, loving entity. There is no nuance to the character. Would you like to leave on some real heartbreaking stuff?
Oh, God.
So James Whale killed himself in 1957 at the age of 67 after a couple of strokes kind of left him in real pain every day. He left a suicide note that his partner held for decades until his death, and then he released it. And there's one line in it I want to leave you with that he writes. It's the second last sentence of the suicide note, and it says, "The future is just old age and illness and pain."
Well, we're living the future.
Yeah, we're in the old
Franklin,
age.
Yeah. Well, that's thanks. That's
you like
really
that?
cheered me up.
I thought so. Thought I'd leave you with that.
Well, I'll have to go cut myself with something. Jesus.
Anyway,
on that high, happy note.
Let's stick some electricity up the arse of this episode and leave it.
Galvanize it, will we?
Let's galvanize it and, do that. All right, let's randomly choose our next movie.
Let's ram the random number generator into the sky and let the lightning hit it and see what happens.
Yeah. And the random electricity has given us 14,240.
Jesus, feck.
Yeah. And movie number 14,240 is 2004's The Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, okay. It's terrible, but I enjoyed it.
I don't think it'll be that bad.
I've seen it.
Yeah. I think I've seen
all the Riddick
all
movies.
of them. Yeah,
and they're the first one's actually fantastic. Pitch Black.
Pitch Black, right? Yeah.
Fantastic movie. It's very simple, but it's just so well done. Not because Vin Diesel is in it, because he's kind of cack. Let's be honest. But listen, I'm not worried. This is actually I enjoy this movie. It's turned the brain off, and Vin Diesel kills people.
Yeah. You've got Vin Diesel, you've got Judi Dench, you've got the boys, Carl Urban, and a lot of other people. The summary is Vin Diesel reprises his star-making Pitch Black role of enigmatic anti-hero Richard B. Riddick in this science fiction action-adventure epic. Doesn't really summarize the plot, but that's Universal Pictures for you. It's got a Metascore of 38.
Ooh.
Yeah, but a user score of 7.2.
I think the real number lies in the middle somewhere.
Yes, salvation lies within.
But let's have I haven't seen this in many a year, so let's have another gander at it with critical eyes.
Do you think that the previous two movies need to be watched?
Well, we both have. Well, this is the second in three.
Okay, then the third one is Riddick, is it?
The third one is Riddick. Riddick comes after this. Yeah. Or is it? I might be getting the sequence wrong.
Okay,
I would have no real problem watching Pitch Black again, but I have watched it about 20 times.
Pitch Black came out in 2000. This one came out in 2004, and then Riddick came out in 2013.
Oh,
okay,
yes.
Yeah. So it's the second one. Yeah. So cool.
Up to you. I've watched both. I've watched the first one enough times to be able to recite it.
Yeah, I'll fit in watching Pitch Black before I watch it again. That'll be fine. That's fine. I watched Pitch Black in the cinema, I would imagine, back in 2000. Yeah, for sure. I think I watched it in a cinema actually, but I don't even know.
Super
I can't
low
remember.
Budget as well. It was like $12, I should say.
Yeah.
And it absolutely smashed the box office for how much money was put into it.
David Twohy directs this. He wrote The Fugitive, which I kind of like as a thing, but he also wrote G.I. Jane and Waterworld. So
yeah, this is kind of around the G.I. Jane level.
Yeah. All right, so we will be watching The Chronicles of Riddick in episode 76, and if you haven't reviewed us, please do so on whatever platform you're listening on, and send us an email if you want to. That would be nice. And we'll see you in episode 76. Bye-bye.
Ta-da. Auf Wiedersehen.